Hey everybody, happy Friday. It's Mike with FlowTrack. So happy Champagne Friday. Just want to make sure you guys can hear me okay, both if you're on Demio or if you're on YouTube. So here's Robin is saying silence. There's no audio on there, so that's not good. Well, let's go ahead and check out and see what we can do. Always happens when I try to do that on both systems. So let's try that. So if you guys can let me know if you hear the audio now. Also, I want to make sure there's no echo. Every time I try to stream on both systems, I get an echo. So if someone can check YouTube for me, that would be great. I appreciate it. Kind of giving up on Demio actually, because every time I stream on there, it's a little blurry, but hopefully there's no echo on YouTube, no echo on Facebook. All right, I'm good to go. So happy Friday. Long time no see, right? So I want to do like just a lot of question and answers today. I want to make sure you guys get all the help that you need and you guys are successful using FlowTrack in your business. Also want to show you guys what we just did by publishing some of the features and enhancements the team has been working on the roadmap software. So let me go ahead and share my screen and we can show you what we've been doing, what the team's been doing. So for those of you guys that don't know, we have our roadmap at roadmap.flowtrack.co. And so what we did is we're actually using this now to post the changelog. So we tried putting the changelog inside FlowTrack. We're like, why are we coding a changelog inside FlowTrack? We don't need to reinvent the wheel, right? So we're just using this system, third-party service, and we're posting all the changes in here that we've been updating in FlowTrack. Let me resize my window so you guys can see that a little bit better. And maybe I'll switch to a different screen. There you go. Now you can see the whole thing. So yeah, you guys will find a ton of changes on here. Tons and tons of little fixes on the website builder, even the finest detail, like making sure your mouse pointer shows as clickable when you're changing the color palette, and a whole host of other bugs they've been releasing in there. And there's another release coming Monday, but just to give you guys kind of an idea of the amount of effort the team's been going through and fixing all these things like Mad Men, trying to get this as great as we can for you guys and try to build really a best-in-class product. So come in here, check all this out. You guys can see everything that was released. So we got the website builder, we got a lot of FlowTrack fixes, and a lot of details in here. There's a few features in here I know you guys are asking about, like making the MMS URL dynamic, so you can pass a variable in the MMS URL to send like a custom image. So we got that in there. And then there was a big change to the campaign registry 10 DLC API. The important changes for you guys is the pricing change. So you guys probably read about that on other services. But the vetting price for the ID verification went from $50 to $15, which is cool. And the price, if you're a sole proprietor type of business, changed to $4 a month when you're registering your SMS campaigns in there. So go in there, check it out, roadmap.flowtrack.co. You guys can see the changelog. We're going to start posting the changes in here as well. We've really been focused on, making bug fixes and stability and getting everything to be the best it can before we start cranking out or releasing some of the new features we have, like the calendar. And I know everyone is waiting on. So I'm a big believer of let's get the things we got working perfect before we start releasing new stuff to the community. So just want to share that with you guys. Let me know if you guys have any questions. And as always, if you guys haven't already, subscribe to us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and make sure that you go ahead and smash that like button. That helps us out a lot if you guys are watching us on YouTube, and hit subscribe and ring the notification bell so you can get more good updates. Now I'm going to go ahead and dive into some of the questions on here. I see we got a lot already. And someone's saying the roadmap is on fire. So thank you. Definitely the team has been doing an amazing job on that. Like literally working 7 days a week. So to get this out there, they've been doing a awesome job. Couldn't be happier with them. They're amazing. Let's see. We got someone saying the changelog shows more types of file uploads on the SMS step, but only supports images. Can we do a video on that? We can definitely do a video on that and show how to do that. So happy to update the support docs on that. We have a lot of work to do on the support docs, get some of the stuff updated too. And we got someone asking a question: what does backwards compatible mean when you're saving a form? That's a good question. So let me show you what they're talking about first before I answer that question. And just so you guys know, I am watching the chat on multiple windows, so I'm gonna get to all your questions. I see we got a lot in there. So inside FlowTrack, when you're designing a form, and I got too many windows open actually. Okay, so inside FlowTrack, when you're designing a form, you're going to be doing that in the Forms tab. And every time you save a form, it's going to give you this pop-up with a version number, right? And this backwards compatible means, is this new version of your form compatible with the old version? And so what does that mean? Well, sometimes your form is just completely different than the old one. You might have deleted all the fields and started over, right? And you're building a different form with completely different fields. As opposed to just going in there and changing a small thing, like maybe you added a field or you change the label of the field on the display. So backwards compatible just means, is this going to affect any existing forms that you may have in the system? And so if the fields are the same, right, and you have those same fields on any old forms that you have, you can mark it as backwards compatible, and all your forms can use the new version that you designed in here, and it won't break anything. So why do we have this? Well, so we use this data to populate what's in the CMS, and we actually use this data to build your custom API endpoints. So your custom API endpoints are actually versioned. So if you did have an integration and you're zapping something over or doing some sort of API integration, you can actually use this version number to not break anything that you already have until you get a chance to update those other APIs or other integrations. So that's what that's there. Most people don't need to worry about it. Only in like the advanced use cases, if you're doing like some sort of custom API integration, or you built your own form, connecting to the API, that sort of thing. Hope that answers the question. But you can just, if you're using that feature in the API, then you'll appreciate the version control. If you're not, then it doesn't really matter. So, but good question. And let's see, we got some other questions. Let's see, bunch of thank yous. Thank you. Someone's asking about the MMS supporting a video. So I know that was on the changelog. I don't know all the file types off the top of my head they added, but we gave them a big list of stuff to send. So we got a big list in there, and we'll try to make a support doc on that too, so you guys can see the file types that are supported and any file size limitations if they're there. And we can put that in a support doc. So I'm just going to take a screenshot of that so we can have that on our to-do list. Perfect. Great. And we got Lyle saying, what's the best way to use FlowTrack with Facebook? Is it possible to connect FlowTrack to Facebook? So absolutely. And so we have two different ways people like to connect usually. One is the conversion API from Facebook. Everyone knows that Apple and a bunch of other companies have been putting a lot of more privacy focused features on their devices, and one of those things actually makes it really hard for Facebook ads to normally track your sales, right? So Facebook ads optimize around who is buying stuff on your website, right? And if Facebook doesn't have that data, they don't know who's buying, they can't target the right people correctly. So you can actually come in here under tracking and enable the Facebook conversion API. Now, the cool thing about this is it makes it super easy to come in here and enable events. It looks like a very intimidating page, right? Because there's tons of options, but these are all the events that Facebook supports for the tracking. So you got things like add to cart and donation and purchase and all this stuff. But the cool thing is most people want to use the events that have the little A next to it. And the A stands for automatic. This event is triggered automatically when it's turned on. So if you turned on this purchase event and it has this little switch enabled, meaning it's on, right? You don't need to do anything else. FlowTrack's going to automatically communicate those conversion events to Facebook when a purchase happens, right? Because we know when a purchase happens. Same thing when someone initiates checkout. So if you have a form that has a payment, if you collect payment on your form, we can trigger initiate checkout when they start filling it out. Same thing with cancel subscription. Someone cancels a subscription in FlowTrack, we automatically can let them know on that. All you got to do is come in here and check, the data that you want Facebook to have to do their own matching that they do. So they try to match, based on the user's information or a Facebook cookie. So if you, for some reason, didn't want to pass phone numbers to Facebook, you can just uncheck that and turn that off. So that's the first thing people normally want to do with Facebook. We actually have a support guide on this that kind of walks you through the whole process and how to set this up. And you just got to do it one time, and then you're going to have much better results on your Facebook ads. So you got to have this. The other thing people like to do with Facebook is the Facebook lead forms. So Facebook lead forms, it's kind of like a mini version of our form designer, right? You get to design a form of questions or data that you want to collect from Facebook, and someone can fill out that form without leaving Facebook, right? And so the question people normally ask is, well, how do we get that data into FlowTrack? And so one of the ways that we're going to be integrating with that is through the tracking system and the CMS that we're releasing. So the idea behind the CMS is you can take any type of data from anywhere. Doesn't matter if it's from Facebook, doesn't matter if it's from a third-party service, whatever it is, and you'll be able to use that in a flow. So we have this cool mapping system where you can say this field maps to this field, and it can map across different tables, and you can use that data in a flow. So that's going to be one of the more popular ways people love to use Facebook. So we're excited to get that feature out there with the CMS, so you guys can see that in action. So those are the two ways. Hope that answers your question. So let's go to some of the questions in Demio. Let's see. So we got someone saying someone put their email address in the wrong field. So they didn't get the first email sequence. Let's see. Well, you got to make sure they fill out the right field with the email address. Let's see. So they're connected to things. Trying to read it. Long comment. Add them as a new contact and manually add them to a flow. How do you resend an email that failed? Or is there a way to take them out to the one flow and manually add them? Okay. So great question. So sometimes you have a scenario where you need to add a user to a flow manually, or you have to do some manual change. All right. So let me just pull up a contact inside FlowTrack, cancel that, go into contacts. So inside contacts, you can have your contact Joe Smith. On the right-hand side, you can see the flows that this user is in. So if you want to add the user to a new flow, just click on the plus button and it subscribes that user to the flow. So that would be the best way to do it. So if you got a email that failed to go out, like an order confirmation, and they really need that order confirmation, well, you can just add them to that flow again, and that's the best way to do it. Now, if the email failed because of like a temporary error, like there's what they call a hard bounce and a soft bounce. The hard bounce just means that the system's not going to retry to send the email because maybe they typed in Gmail instead of Gmail, right? A typo on the domain, it's never going to go through. So that'll never be retried. There's some cases where it will be retried. So it'll give you the error message on the contact if the email failed to send for some reason. And if it's a hard bounce, we'll mark their email as red so you know that it's an invalid email, and you can come in here and update that. So hopefully that answers your question. Let's see, we got some people saying going on YouTube instead because it's blurry. So definitely go on there on YouTube. Make sure you guys smash that subscribe button. So I'll throw that up there again. You guys can get those notifications every time we do this. We got Antoine saying he has a support issue. Definitely ping me or ping Jawad or Don, also in the Facebook group now. Happy to help out and help you with that support issue anytime, 7 days a week. So we're here for you. And Andres is saying he wanted to ask about the development team to give some priority to 2 issues. And he has something for the forms and the coupon feature. So yeah, definitely I'll take these 2 issues and I'll talk with the team about it and see where this is in the queue, or if it is in the queue. So usually the fastest way to get stuff to us when you guys have, any sort of bug or issue or anything that needs to be fixed or looked at is to message us on the support chat. All that stuff in the support chat, goes in the queue and is logged. And so we, convert those into development tickets. If it's something that is a development thing. So usually it'll go through the tier 1 support. They can't fix it, goes to tier 2, and they determine if it's a bug or a training issue, or we need an article about it. If it's none of those, or it's a bug, it'll go to the development team. So that process, can take some time. It takes longer if it's a development issue, because then has to go into the development queue and get prioritized and fixed. If there's a delay on that, I know we're trying to improve the communication on that process. And I'm actually building a whole process around that so you guys can have some visibility too. So we're trying to build something so you guys have visibility into, any sort of support issue, more like a ticketing system. So you guys can have a ticket, you can see where it is, know where it is, and track it. So sometimes tracking it through your chat messages can be a pain, because you might be talking about 3 different things in your chat, right? So you just want to track one thing. So good question. Let me go back to the other comments on here. So Lyle's saying, thoughts about integrating an email writer with AI tools like ChatGPT or other to be able to create emails, etc. Is it best to keep those apart? So he said, rather buy your own AI writer tool than build emails outside and just copy back in. So there's a ton of those AI writer tools out there. And they have a lot of experience building those, and they've had a lot of time to perfect those. So I think that definitely go with one of those AI writing tools that exist today, where you can just copy and paste. If any of them do have an API, obviously you can use that API step in the Flow Builder and get that in there. But if you guys want that sort of AI built into FlowTrack, definitely post something on the roadmap. We got to see something with a bunch of upvotes, and we can get that in there. I saw a video, I think it was yesterday, of someone that integrated ChatGPT with Siri on the iPhone. And that was so impressive, because, your normal experience with Siri is like, I'm sorry, I don't understand that. But this was completely different. So definitely it's coming a long way. It's super impressive what they got now with the AI. Just a matter of prioritizing it and seeing what people want the most, and getting it built in FlowTrack. There's a lot of cool stuff we could do with AI. Maybe it's the AI chat bot that's responding to customers. Maybe it's responding to emails. You can do a lot of cool stuff. But I'm always impressed with what OpenAI is doing from an AI perspective. Perfect. So someone's asking about, on the PCI compliance side, should I write your white label name on FlowTrack? So absolutely, you can write your white label name on FlowTrack, because that's where they'll see, your customers and whatnot coming from. So they can go in there and see that name. So he's talking about the Stripe. So when you enable your Stripe, it asks you, what service do you use, or what's the name of the site, and you can put your own site. You can put FlowTrack in there. Either one will work. Good question. So Karen's saying the FloatTrack YouTube channel is set as made for kids, so no one can get notifications. Uh-oh. So that's weird. That's actually the most misleading thing I've seen on YouTube. I've done that before. When you upload a video or you set something that says, "Is this made for kids?" And I'm like, "Well, it's not adult content, so I guess sure." But I guess when you set that, you get some restrictions. So it's not kid content, but I guess it's not adult content either. So, but thank you for pointing that out, Karen. We can get that updated. And Karen's saying she still doesn't understand about the bounced email. Please check your email address and try again. Where do you go to resend? Okay, so when you're on this page, where you go to resend depends on how you sent the email. If you just sent the email here, click on this button, right? You can just do that again and click that button and send it. If you sent the email automatically from a flow and you want that to retry, just click the add to flow button, add them to the flow, and it'll kick off your email again. So that's how you do it. Just make sure you get their email corrected in there first. Edit this here, and then next time it runs in the flow, it'll be sent to the right person. So great question. Let me know if that answers that for you. I'm going to go in and see the other chats. Okay. So we got Robin saying, yes, visibility to a ticketing system. So absolutely. I know you guys want that. And Robin's saying that he saw that Integromat now integrates with AI chat. So that's pretty cool too. Definitely cool. Really cool. So let me know if you guys have other questions in here. I wanted to, give this time to you guys so you guys can come in and ask me anything, right? So anything you guys want to know, whether it's how to do something in FlowTrack, a strategy of how you guys can do something in FlowTrack, configuration, anything, or even ideas for videos, what you guys want to see next, right? So we can do whole videos dedicated to a certain thing, and we can get that going. So let's see. We got some questions. Someone's asking, can you delete a conversation in FlowTrack? So we don't have a delete button in there. And, a lot of we designed it first, the chat, to be also like a ticketing system. And think of like an intercom type of system, those sort of things. So you got your chat widgets and stuff like that, or even just support. So there was no delete feature. Most of the time you just resolve a chat or you resolve a support ticket. You don't really delete it. But we have had people asking for a delete button in there. So definitely put that on the roadmap too. We can get that prioritized and added. That's an easy thing to add. But we just got to prioritize it and get it in there. But right now, if you just click resolve, it'll, archive it. Just like when you're using Gmail, you can archive your mail, same type of idea. Great question. So we got Jeff is asking, is there API functionality to search for a field value in a form submission like there is to search for a field value in a contact? If so, what is the API method? So on the CMS, there is going to be the search feature, and you can search on a specific field. And so since it's going to be in FlowTrack, you will have the API to do that. And I know we don't have the search box yet on the CMS. So that's one of the things that's in here, or going to be in here when they release it. So there's no search on there yet. So there's going to be search, filter, sorts, and sorts, multi-level sort. So by first column, second column, etc., and a bunch more stuff in here. So stay tuned on that, Jeff, when we get that update to CMS out. And the other thing I wanted to show you guys, and I didn't even know this the other day, right? So one of our developers was telling me about this. I'm like, that's so cool. I didn't know you could do that. So inside the Flow Builder, a lot of you guys are asking, well, how can I reuse some of the form data in the flow? Well, we actually have this option in here. It shows up as a trigger, and I think trigger is the wrong place to put it because it's not really a trigger. But you got an option on here to use form submission data. So it's not triggering. That's why I said it doesn't belong here. The flow doesn't trigger based on anything. It's just saying, hey, let's use some form data in a flow, right? So I can pick Mike's new form. I click save. Now I got access to the latest form submission from that user in this flow. So if I was doing a condition, right? And so I can do some condition. Now I'm going to see what data set do you want to use in here. I'm going to have that form, Mike's new form. So now I can use the data on the form to do a condition. So that's a really cool feature in there. And right now it's just always going to grab the latest one. So if they filled out the form multiple times, you always get the latest one. So that's a great way to use that form data in the flow builder now. Instead of waiting for the CMS, we're going to get a lot more flexibility in there. So let me know if you guys have any questions about that. I was super excited to see that in there. And I think that was actually an idea from Robin. So I heard, so thank you for that, Robin. A good idea. You guys give us a lot of great ideas. So keep them coming, and we'll get everything in that we can. So let's see. And it doesn't just have to be the condition step. You can use that anywhere, right? Use it in an email, use it anywhere. Okay, and we got Dave saying, I'm using the form on a website. How do I get that? How do I get that in the FlowTrack to kick off a flow? So that's just automatic, right? All we have to do is come in and assign that form to a flow. So let me give you an example. So we'll go into database, we'll click on forms. Every form that you guys design in here can trigger a flow. So I'll see that Mike's new form right here triggers flow, new flow test. Now, if you wanted to hook up a form to a flow, just click that button, add new. You pick your form from the list, right? And you go ahead and you save it. And I would say run this every time a form is submitted. So now I got my flow and my trigger all in there, and you can see it's connected because it'll, have the name of the flow right next to it. So even if you're running this form on a third-party site, like you could be using WordPress or Wix or wherever your site is, doesn't matter. No matter where that form is, every time someone fills it out, it's going to trigger that flow. And so if you're embedding that on your third-party website, we got the embed code here. You can just copy and paste to put it on any site, hosted anywhere. So good question. Let's see. Robin's asking, can you add an offset to the form to get the previous version? So I'll make a screenshot of that one too, so we can get a doc on that. I don't think we have the doc on how to get the previous form version. And I think that might be in the CMS right now too. So if that's in there, we can check out. I don't think that's in the CMS yet either. So, but yeah, I'll create a doc on that so you guys can get the previous form versions. I think that would be good. Let's see, Dave's saying, you know how to do the flow part. The client is using Typeform. Oh, okay. So you want to get Typeform's form data into FlowTrack. So I haven't used Typeform, so I'm not too sure about that one. I don't know if they have like a webhook or a way to catch that. You're going to be able to do a lot more stuff with the webhook side with the tracking release. So just to give you guys an idea, today, if you wanted to catch like a webhook or get some data, a lot of people are building a form first. That form gives you the API endpoint, and then you can use that to receive a webhook or an API post. That's what people are doing. But with the tracking system, we're literally just saying catch a webhook, right? So you can catch anything without having to design a form first. So that's going to be the easiest way to do it. But if they do have a way to like ping over the data, just build a form that matches that same data, like matches exactly, right? So the field name has to be the same, all that good stuff. And then you get an API URL. You can use that to ping over data. So I'm happy to take a look at that. with you if you want to send me the link to that document, and we can take a look at see how we can help you out with Typeform. Let's see. They've saying connect through API. Yep, absolutely. All right, I'm going through more of the questions now on Facebook. So if you were just beginning to integrate FlowTrack into your digital marketing practice, where do you suggest we begin? Website, forms. So I think the website is actually a great place to start, right? That's the customer facing thing that people are going to see first. Even if you don't have a form on your website, you don't have anything else, right? It's still the face of your business. So I would say always get your website online first, because if you have to even just put your FlowTrack phone number on there to start, right, and forward the calls to your cell phone, that's better than missing some sales or opportunities. So get your website online and show it off to the world, and share it with all your friends and family, and try to get sales any way you can. Some people will do that and link it to their calendar or have a phone number or a payment form. But I kind of work from front to back. So website, the form, the purchase to flows, right? And then you can start doing the automated follow-up. So good question. Let's see. So, Walker's asking, how can I automatically transfer new Google contacts to FlowTrack? That's a good question. So you get a contact in Google or Gmail, and you want to ping it over to FlowTrack. I don't know off the top of my head, but I have seen an article on doing that with Google Sheets. And so I assume you can get the new contacts from Google into Google Sheets and then do something to plug it in. And I don't know. Let's see if I can find that article off head or my notes, and maybe I'll share that with you guys. Yeah, I don't have the link to that. I have to find it. But yeah, I don't know off the top of my head, Walker. So I'll take a screenshot of that, and we'll try to check on that for you too, see how we can come up with a solution for that. So get contacts from Google to FlowTrack, maybe real time. That would be cool. I always like to have things in sync. That's a good question. Let's see. Well, if you guys have any other questions, let me know. I think I got all of them. But go ahead, I'll give you guys another minute if you guys want to drop your questions into the chat. Happy to answer. And go in and check out, like I was saying, the changelog, see everything that the team's been working on. And as we release some of the other things the team's been working on, we'll update this. So this only shows, the things that have gone live, not the other stuff that they're working on that's going to be live, that may not be on the roadmap and won't be in the changelog. So stay tuned for that. And it looks like that's all the questions. Yuri saying, can you ask questions here? Absolutely. Just type your comments, type your questions in the comments, and it pops up for me. Someone's saying, is it possible to connect Firebase with FlowTrack? And so that's a good question. And I don't know that one off the top of my head either. So Firebase to FlowTrack. So give me an example of what you want to do. And then we can see how you can do it. So Firebase is like your real-time database. So, I don't know if you want to pull data into it or from it, or push data to it, or vice versa. And yeah, you can let me know, clarify that, and we'll see how we can help. So let's see if we got any more good questions on here. I don't see any good questions. Yeah, if you guys got anything else you guys want to ask, now's your time to ask it. You guys can ask me anything except Yuri. He can't ask anything. So if you want to ask me any other questions, you're good to go. Now's your chance. All right, well, that looks like that's all the questions for today. So I appreciate you guys joining me on the Champagne Friday. I'll see you guys on the next one. We're going to do the Lunch and Earn Monday, and we'll go ahead and get that rolling. So hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Feel free to drop more questions or comments in the chat, and we'll take a look and get those answered for you. Have a great one. Bye.